Okay, guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is a little bit different for me. I'm used to having to do this on Facebook Live and trying to share this over. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get going. And I apologize again for the technical difficulties this evening, but this will be available to view after the fact. So nobody is really missing out unless they super duper wanted to watch it live on Facebook and nowhere else. Welcome, class of 2020. We're excited to have you for another big year. This is the 5th anniversary of the Thoroughbred Makeover at the Kentucky Horse Park, and it is the 10th anniversary of RRP. So what's the difference? Like, what is RRP and what is the Thoroughbred Makeover? So the RRP, the Retired Racehorse Project, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and that is the entity that produces the Thoroughbred Makeover, which is the event that you guys have been accepted to participate in. So if you want to be super duper correct, you are accepted into the Thoroughbred Makeover by the Retired Racehorse Project. Again, the Retired Racehorse Project, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we were founded in the state of Maryland by a group of like-minded friends who really love thoroughbreds and thought that it just didn't really make sense that they had fallen out of favor in the equestrian community. So it's basically a marketing effort to represent these horses and let everybody know what's so great about them and create demand for them in second careers. So the Thoroughbred Makeover was conceived of to support that charitable mission, to promote the horses and prove how versatile and trainable they are. So that's why we have this whole process, why it's not just a horse show that you show up and enter into. We want to know who our riders are, who's participating. We look at applications, go through a review process, and then we have horses, a specific population of horses that are eligible each year because we're trying to impact the horses that are in that transition period. So that's a little bit about the event and how it came to be. Hopefully, if you're on this webinar, you know that it is a many month-long process culminating in an event at the Kentucky Horse Park over the course of the week. It is 10 different disciplines. You can compete in one or two. And if you're in the top 5 of your discipline, you advance to the finale and compete again on Saturday and win probably some prize money if you're in the top 5. So that's how that works. And then there's a process for voting and that determines the overall winner of Thoroughbred Makeover Champion. And I apologize, my dogs are here with me today and my husband is picking them up, so there's going to be some barking in about 10 seconds. Anyway, so who works for RRP? I'm Kirsten Reed again. I am the managing director of Retired Racehorse Project. I've been full-time with the organization for about 5 years now. So my boss is Jen Royts. She's based in Kentucky. She's RRP's executive director. The other people that you'll deal with as full-time staff members of the organization are Kristen Bentley, who is based in Western New York. She is social media, she is communication, she does some sponsor servicing, but she's the one that really is mining your posts and everything for good stories to tell. She does a lot of writing for our social media and also for our magazine. We also have Raina Erasmus, who is new to us this year, but she serves as the show secretary. So she's going to be the primary point of contact for you guys. Also full-time with us is Julia Oden. She's our program developer, which is a fancy way of saying she's our fundraiser. So most of you won't have to interface with her for much, but if you have any leads on people that want to support the event, she is the person that we will direct you to. Aside from that, we do have some part-time contractors as well. We have Julie Magruder, who is the graphic designer and web designer behind our brilliant brand. We have lots of great logo wear and merch that you guys should check out. And then we also have Jen Crowell, who writes a lot of code for our website, helps develop the Makeover management system that runs the event. And Sally Roberts, who was part-time with us last year and is still working for the organization in a more seasonal capacity. So you may interact with her here and there. Let's see. Okay, I just have my notes here, so bear with me. First things first, communications and resources. So RRP, any kind of official communications that you get are going to be via email. So you're going to want to make sure that you have RRP like set as like friendly or whatever in your spam filters so that we don't wind up in your junk folder. We also are available by phone or email, just to kind of like 9-ish to 5-ish, we're always kind of working. It's just how we are. But, if you need to speak with us on the phone, we're in the office, the kind of typical Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.-ish window. And we are based in Maryland, so we're at East Coast time. Please avoid Facebook messaging staff for business-related stuff. It really helps us serve you better to have you in our email inboxes or speak to you personally on the phone. A lot of Facebook messages either don't come directly to us or are kind of like go down the chat window, when we receive something after hours. So it really helps us manage things more effectively if you follow the kind of communication requests that we have with contacting us by email. We send emails as they are relevant. Generally about once a month or so, we'll send an update of, just deadline reminders and that sort of thing. And we disseminate information as it becomes relevant. So, we're not going to spend a lot of time today talking about stuff like stabling because that's not relevant until August. All that said, we put these emails together. They're often lengthy, but they're often full of really relevant information. And I really encourage you to take the time to read them thoroughly, to file them somewhere where you can refer back to them. Some people have binders, which I think is great. They keep all their RRP-related information in that. I think that that's a really great tip. So between the emails and between the rule book that's published online, we hope that we answer everything that you need to know. We'll spend a lot of time thinking through that. So between all of those things, the more informed you are, the better time you'll have. Let's see. Schedule of critical dates. So the most emergent thing for you to do is to, now that you've been accepted, is to register your course. So that is a form that's available online in the competitor portal. And your Makeover rules obligate you to do that as soon as you acquire the course. We really appreciate you guys getting that entered as soon as possible. We always get crushed with a bunch of people, at July 31st, registering their horses, and we know y'all have them longer than that. So help us out, register your horses as soon as you have them. You can withdraw them, change them, whatever you need to do up until July 31st. So, registering your horse, if you have to change it, it's fine, but go ahead and get them registered. So that's the first thing that you have to worry about. Then August 1 hits, and that's when we really seriously start planning the event. That's when we're going to need you to do what we call the final entry form. That's where you're going to confirm the disciplines that you're competing in. You're going to make your stabling requests. If your horse is going to be for sale, you're going to enter them in the marketplace at that time. We go ahead and we have that period open for 2 weeks, and it closes up on August 15th. But we do allow you to make updates and changes to certain aspects of that form all the way through September 15th. But then it comes to the point where we have to do stall assignments and stuff like that, so we close up the edits. Why is the timeline the way that it is? Again, we were talking about how this event serves a charitable mission, which is to promote thoroughbreds. We register them. We do a lot of research about them on the back end, compile data about their racing history and how they were acquired. That helps us tell their story, and it's also critical for us for understanding what the kind of cycle is for horses after they retire from racing. So, you know, we have them set up like that because we have things like promotions and that sort of thing that we have to be running to promote the event throughout the year. The final entry period is early because our magazine, the fall issue, serves as the event program. So we have to submit information like competitor lists and stuff like that early. Also, same thing with determining who's going to be in the horse sale, the Makeover marketplace. You know, we need time to get those ads up, to get them promoted, to get them in our print catalog. We send our print catalog out to people who have requested it ahead of time. So, you know, all of this is in pursuit of supporting the charitable mission of the event. I know sometimes it's frustrating to have a bunch of forms and a bunch of deadlines, but that's what you get with this event. All that said, we don't appreciate late paperwork, and we have a late fee of $75 if you choose to honor your paperwork. It will be assumed, if you don't register a horse by July 31st, that you are not planning to attend the makeover. It will be assumed that if you don't do a final entry by August 15th, that you do not plan to attend the makeover. We are not going to be personally calling you and filling out forms for you over the phone. There are too many of you and not enough of us. So that's the deal on that. And I'm getting questions here on Kristen, I'm going to get to this question. I'm just going to a little bit when we talk about horse registrations a little bit later. All right, so we talked about dates. Also related to dates, there's a provisional schedule for the event posted up on our website. If you go to the main menu, there's a tab called Attend, and there's a lot of good information there, including the provisional schedule. The event formally starts on, what day is it? Wednesday, October 7th, and your prelims run on the 7th and 8th. You have a dark day of competition on Friday the 9th. You have lots of activities planned for Friday the 9th, and then your finale runs on Saturday. Your stabling fee covers the entire week. You can ship in on Monday and leave on Sunday morning. And the reason why it's set up that way is because on Monday and Tuesday, we have to do arrival exams for all the horses, and on Tuesday, we have a pretty significant schooling day where you can get into the competition arenas. So you want to plan your time off and that sort of thing accordingly. We're really excited about Friday. Logistically, it's a good way for us to run the event and make sure that things go smoothly. But as far as activities for you guys, we've really amped up what we're planning to do that day. We're going to have a very ceremonious jog for all the horses that are headed into the finale. Our competitor party will continue to be on Friday. We'll have our masterclass again and some educational opportunities. We're planning a sale horse showcase, so have some featured time for the sale horses on Friday. Do a stall decorating, and we'll have a dog costume contest. So we've really doubled down on trying to make sure that Friday is still a lot of fun for everybody. Let's see. Do that later. Touching on the Makeover marketplace, this has become an important aspect of our event. If your horse is going to be for sale following the Makeover, we do offer an entry into the Makeover marketplace where we'll help you market your horse. We have an online catalog, we have a print catalog. The horse is identified as being for sale throughout the event. And we have there's several different options for how you list the horse. You can pay for some increased visibility, whether it's feature on the Jumbotron or the covered arena, or if it's a bigger ad in the catalog. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later in the summer, but be thinking about that. We'll definitely be putting together resources to help you guys get your horses presented really well and priced appropriately. And we do a lot of mailing and promotion of that part of the event. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to take a beat and take a look for questions here. Okay, we've had some questions about stabling and whether they have to be stabled at the horse park the entire week. No. There's a lot of people who choose to stable off-site, whether it's like at a friend or at a layover facility. There's a lot of options like that that are very convenient to the park, and I think that it's a really good option for people to consider. You know, if their horse is used to living out all year, you'll be able to kind of take have a day stall if you want, and then go home and turn the horse out in the evening, or you can ship in for the week entirely and not utilize the stall at all. I really recommend getting a stall. It enables you to spend some time and enjoy the rest of the event, and not have to worry about your horse back in the trailer. You know, the event, there's a competition going on, but it's very social. You get to meet the people that you've been talking to all year and really get to kind of like drive home that sense of community. So I really encourage people to kind of like participate in the whole event rather than just showing up for the competition times. Let's see. We'll talk about lodging a little bit later. Stabling for the week is $160. That's a flat rate fee, whether you come in Monday or Tuesday, whether you leave after you're done on Thursday, it's just $160 for the week. So it's obviously a pretty good deal if you're going to make use of the entire week. And turnout. This is always like an issue that people are really crazed about. There are turnouts available, but I might have misspoken. Whatever is published in the rule book, it's 160 or 180 is the correct thing. I wrote the rule book, but it's not always 100% committed to memory. So whatever it says in that rule book is correct. Back to round pens. The round pens, like when they say that there's turnout available, it's a round pen. Like, let's be very clear. And there's about 12 of them, and they're not particularly convenient to stabling, and they're probably already sold out, to be perfectly honest. Again, talking about stabling and shipping in and that sort of thing, I think it would actually really be better for your horse if you went ahead and just found a layover facility to ship home to at night. The horse would be happier and get to move a lot more than they actually would in that round pen. So it's there, it's expensive, and there's not a lot of it. So just kind of keep that in mind when making plans. Okay. Here's some fun stuff. The Retired Racehorse Project and Thoroughbred Makeover, we have in our rule book a competitor code of conduct. And that is because the second that you are accepted into this event and your name is published on our website, you are linked to us forever. And you are now ambassadors for our program. So that doesn't mean that you have to like happily agree with everything that we do, but we do expect you to handle yourself with a high degree of horsemanship and sportsmanship. If you see something that you don't agree with, we really appreciate you contacting us as an organization directly. We're pretty well known for hearing people and taking people's thoughts and concerns into consideration. Likewise, if you see behavior from another competitor that you think is in violation of the rules or in violation of the code of conduct, we really appreciate you contacting us directly so that we can handle that with the competitor directly. You know, it doesn't do anybody a lot of good to go onto your personal Facebook page and complain about things. You know, the way to really affect change and have your problems solved is by dealing with us directly. So, I mean, it's quite simple. Just don't be a jerk. And like the reality is that you think that what you say on your Facebook page is private, but it never really is. Like I can't tell you in my position how many screenshots I get of people's behavior on social media. It is really not something that I enjoy when I have to go to somebody and be like, I got sent this screenshot of you behaving poorly, whether it's talking trash about RRP or another competitor or just being uncouth. So please post thoughtfully. We really appreciate it. And if there's anything that we can ever help you with, please, we're available. We're here. We want to support you. And on a related note, if you have a situation that you need to talk to somebody about, please talk to staff about it. We have some volunteers in this group and our other groups that help us moderate things. And they work very hard and give us a lot of their time, but it's also not their obligation and not their role to handle problems when they come up. We always really appreciate when you come straight to us. Let's see. Microchips and health-related requirements. I like to cover this really early on, just to make sure that that people are planning accordingly throughout the year. So, as of last year, we required that all horses attending the Thoroughbred Makeover were microchipped with a Jockey Club registered microchip. So, we can't make you do it, but we'll be checking for it when you get to Kentucky, and you're not going to be able to compete if you don't have it. So handle that how you wish. The compliant microchips, you can order them from the Jockey Club. You can also order them from us in our online store. Ship a little bit faster. What you're looking for is to have your vet insert an ISO 11784/11785 compliant chip. That means that it has a 15-digit serial number. Okay, so that's what you're looking for to be Jockey Club compliant. Then you need to go ahead and register that microchip with the Jockey Club. We have a little YouTube tutorial on how to do that. It's very quick and simple. It literally takes 15 seconds. And then you also have to report it to us. If you have any questions about microchips, anything that we can help you with, please let us know. Also, check your horse first to make sure that they don't already have a microchip. It's becoming more and more accepted as like the most reliable form of identification in animals, including equines, which is why the Jockey Club embraces it, which is why USCF and FEI embraces it. So we're supporting that movement by requiring it in our horses as well. Let's see. So I just mentioned the arrival exam. So RRP last year implemented an arrival exam, and it was really celebrated as a very progressive and forward-thinking thing to do for an event of our nature. We want to make sure that these horses are presented in the best light and that they're very healthy and prepared to compete that weekend. So what that entails is that your horse needs to be in a body condition score of 4 or better. That means that they have their microchip. That means that they are vaccinated for EHV1 within the last 6 months prior to the competition and no fewer than 14 days prior to the competition. And that they have normal vitals, they're free of any major swellings or blemishes that impede performance, and that they are sound in hand. So that is a process that everybody goes through. And it was exceptionally successful last year. We got a lot of praise from a lot of different communities for doing it. Okay. So all that said, keep saying that. Work with your vet throughout the year. Like your vet should really be looked at as a partner in this process. Check in throughout the year. It's very natural for these horses to go through kind of like maybe a little bit of a crash nutritionally as they're going through this transition. Their musculature is going to change. How they metabolize food is going to change. So work with your vet on that. Making a body condition score of a 4 is 100% doable and 100% appropriate for these courses. So work with your vet to make sure that you're going to be on track to achieve that. And on a related topic, this Facebook group that we have for the trainers, the private Facebook group, is a fantastic community of experienced and like-minded horsemen, but most of them are not vets. And so I really encourage people, if you are having a significant issue with your horse, to make sure that you're consulting with your vet on that matter. We, on occasion, see people posting questions about neurologic disorders, about ulcers, about soundness issues, kissing spine, some of the common things. And you get a lot of advice, and a lot of that advice isn't necessarily from a veterinary professional. So please keep that in mind when you're posting these groups. We're going to want to make sure that you're working with your vet. Since we are on the topic of this Facebook group and code of conduct, again, this Facebook group is such a joyful, unintended bonus that came out of starting this event. This group is so kind and so supportive and so welcoming. It is naturally a very positive place, but we also work to keep it that way. All of our admins have the discretion to remove or not approve posts if they feel that they're inappropriate or off topic or negative. Whether they start out fine and go south, like we have been known to shut down those conversations, and we have the right to do that. All that, that housekeeping stuff aside, enjoy each other, enjoy the process. Remember that a lot of what you see on social media is everybody's best day. You're going to get started and you're going to see people that are carrying around horses in March, and you're going to, might think, oh my God, is that person cheating? Or, oh my God, that person is so much better than me. But you have to do what we call staying in your lane. You have to focus on enjoying your horse and listening to your horse and your process. The reality is that a lot of you guys aren't going to make it to this event just because you've got a large population of horses, a large population of people that, the horses can run into soundness issues. Maybe it's something happy, like they sold to a great home, or, you had a problem with your family or a problem with your job, or got pregnant. We joke about that every year, but the majority of you guys are women of childbearing age. So that might become a roadblock too. So don't get too hung up on getting to the event at the end of the year. We want to see you all there, but most importantly, we want to see you enjoying the process. We want to see you adequately preparing your horses to be there, getting in lots of riding, getting in lots of trips out, getting in lots of lessons. Really focus on your program and listening to your horses. And we really encourage you to focus on adequate preparation. We have a hashtag called Field Trip Friday, which is just kind of our way of saying, like, what are you up to this weekend? Where are you taking your horse? What are you doing to prep? And I just want to point out that it's encouraged to get lessons. You are allowed to send your horse out for training, because getting to the horse park and being well prepared for that event and making sure that the horses get presented in the best light is key. It's really disheartening when we hear about people who are bringing horses to the horse park with 10 or 12 rides. It's just not appropriate for the mission of the event. It's not in the spirit of what we're trying to do, and it's not fair to the horses to bring them to an event of this size not adequately prepared. A couple other housekeeping type things with the Makeover group. Keep it positive, mind your language, mind your topic. We have a lot of young people in this group. Use the search feature. I guarantee you that somebody has asked before if you're going to get dinged in the hunter ring with a monoflap saddle. Like, these are things that come up all the time. and you'll get a lot of good information by using that search function. Don't spam the group. Please don't post 5 times a day with long rants or off-topic subject matter. You know, posting memes and stuff like that on occasion is fine, but like, you know, let's try to keep it on topic. We really try to keep the sale posts, the sale of products to a minimum. We don't approve many fundraisers, and there's a whole other set of rules about advertising horses, so make sure that you familiarize yourself with that. And then last but not least on social stuff, our official hashtags are TB Makeover and TB Makeover Grad. So that's for our alumni horses. That is what Kristen uses when she goes looking for content to share. You can tag us and stuff, you know, at Retired Racehorse Project, but the hashtag is really what is most effective in helping Kristen get through and find the good stuff. All right, let me just take a pause for some questions here. Okay. Kristen's reminding me, when you are hashtagging your posts and that sort of thing, is potential for you know, stuff to get shared on our social media pages. It's a huge help if Kristen would share, if you would share with your post what your horse's jockey club name is. We use jockey club names at this event. What you call your horse at home and beyond is up to you. But for the purpose of marketing these horses and making sure that their racing connections can find them, we're really using their jockey club names. I'm getting a lot of questions about camping and lodging. So let me go ahead and talk about that. Like I was saying, plan your trip accordingly. You know, there's formal event dates, but it really is a week-long event. And we hope that everybody will come and enjoy that. On our website, under the at tvmakeover.org, under the Attend tab, there is a section for lodging. We do have an official host hotel. The details of that are listed there. And the details of reserving in the campground are there as well. I understand that there is an event specific to the campground that is happening at the same weekend as ours. I was not aware of that, and it's rather inconvenient, but there's nothing that I can do about that. So I understand that the campground might be full. There is no other appropriate place for living quarters, campers, or horse trailers, aside from the actual formalized ground in the horse park. I will be in touch with the horse park and just see if I can get any more information or advice, because I know that that camping in your living quarters trailer is a really good option for a lot of you guys. So I'm going to see if I can come up with any alternative suggestions. And likewise, if anybody else finds anything, please do share with the group. If you want to camp in your cool tent camping, I understand that there are still spaces for that. Camping. Denise in Tennessee wants to add a blog link to your profile. You need to send that to secretary@tvmakeover.org, and we can link up a website or blog of your choice. Singular. Let's see. Okay. Kayla, you were asking about wind puffs. Again, you know, when we're looking for blemishes that are impeding performance. So we're not going to ding you for a wind puff as long as your horse is sound. We have a question about grazing and hand grazing. They're not strict about that. You can basically go anywhere on the horse park that isn't it doesn't have another event actively occurring. A lot of people go out on the cross country course and, the back part of the horse park where it's nice and quiet and take their horses back there. All that's open to you. You can ride wherever you want, but you can hand walk your horses more or less. Okay, on a similar note to let's see, we've got, will there be a schooling schedule and how does schooling work? Yes, there will be a schooling schedule. We have to, strictly adhere to the schooling schedule. There's not really opportunity for late night schooling because, it's just really not appropriate. But we do come out with a detailed schooling schedule. It is ticketed schooling. You will be allowed to go into 2 competition venues of your choice. That process is all worked out in the check-in process. That'll be published, later on in September. But, I would plan to, at very least, come into town and plan to take advantage of the formalized schooling day on Tuesday prior to the start of the event. If you can swing it, it's great to get in on Monday. There will be a limited number of places that you can ride on Monday, and you can get your arrival exam out of the way then, and then be, in town and ready to take advantage for the schooling day on Tuesday. Okay, Elise, we are going to get into horse registrations, at the end of this. I'll actually screen share the form with you, so just give it a couple more minutes here. Promotion and press, again, we talk about getting your horse registrations done because we want to promote the horses that are involved. So go ahead and get them done. But, a lot of people will set up a blog or a Facebook page that is, in the name of their horse and in their journey to the makeover. And we really encourage that sort of thing. We love to share that sort of thing. So make sure that you give us your links so that we can add them to your profile. Make sure you're using our official hashtags so that we can find your content as you're putting it up. And we really encourage you to get the word out in your local community. Don't be afraid to send a press release to, your local newspaper so that they can run a feel-good story about you, and we'd love to share that sort of thing. I'm going to talk about webinars in a second, but we will have a webinar in a couple of weeks to talk about marketing your makeover journey. That's definitely an important part of this. And we'll have Kristen, our communications manager, and Jen Reutz talk a bit more in depth with you guys about that. On that subject, Kristen did put out a call earlier this afternoon. We partner with Horse Nation, Eventing Nation, Jumper Nation, and also America's Best Racing. And I know that we are actively looking for bloggers to represent us to the Horse Nation and Jumper Nation, and also the America's Best Racing audiences. So if you're interested in blogging and think that you have a flair for the written word, please get in touch with Kristen. There's a post about it in the trainers Facebook group. Okay, and then webinars. So this is something that we've kind of put more effort into as every year goes by. And we do these webinars in a similar fashion to how I at least attempted to host this one this evening. Typically they're available in the Facebook group as well as here on Zoom, and then we record it and put it up on our YouTube channel for people to access later in the year. So we'll do that with this one, but we have some great topics scheduled already for this year that include a session with Shannon Reed, who is our consulting veterinarian for the event. And she's going to talk a lot about, horses that are transitioning and rehabbing and how to make the most of that time. Shannon also is the author of a really robust study about what the first year post-track looks like for these horses, both in terms of soundness and wellness. So she's a really great resource So make sure to introduce yourselves to her. She's also happens to be a previous competitor, so she's got great experience with this event. Like I mentioned, we have Marketing Your Makeover Journey. We also have nutrition Q&A session with a equine nutritionist. Marketing Your Makeover sales force. So we're going to be talking about, how to craft a good ad, take a good picture, and how to present your horse in the best light later this summer. We'll have at least 2 more kind of like logistical webinars like this, just kind of Q&A sessions at some of the major deadline dates throughout the year, talking about final entry forms and talking about, the last bits of specifics as we get into the last couple of days prior to the event. We'll meet with you guys and answer all your questions. And then Shannon will also host a Preparing for the Arrival exam webinar in August. That's one that you really want to look for. Make sure that you really understand the requirements when you still have time to deal with them. Okay, I'm going to, in a moment, switch over to showing you guys the horse registration form. Let me take a hot second to check for questions again. So here's my pop quiz. What is the next thing that you have to do? You've been accepted and you have many months before a deadline, but what is the next thing that you have to do? Register your horse. Don't panic, like Kristen says. Okay, so I'm going to turn over, covered all the questions in the chat and covered all the questions in the, let me actually type an answer to these. Okay, I just made Kristen Bentley a presenter, but you don't have to share your screen, Kristen, because I'm actually going to go turn on screen share so that we can see Makeover site. Okay. Let's see. Participants. Where'd the chat go? Oh dear. Elise, you wanted to ask about checking for a microchip. Your vet should have a scanner. It's an RFID thing that they just wave across their neck, and if there's one present, it'll notify the scanner. Emmy wanted to know if you don't have a microchip yet, can you still register your horse? Yes, you can add your microchip at any point throughout the year. Okay. So I realize a lot of you are going to access this from your mobile phone, and our website, we do our best to make sure that it works on a mobile phone, but I will say that it works better if you can get on a computer. So everything that you guys need is in the competitor portal, and you do need to be logged into the TV Makeover site. I'll just point out that we have 2 websites. So we have our main organizational website, and that's retiredracehorseproject.org, and then we have tvmakeover.org. So you need to be logged in on the TV Makeover website. to access the competitor portal. The login is right down here at the bottom of every page. Okay. So we're going to go back up to competitor portal. We tried to make sure that it was prominent, that it's coming up at the top of menus for your guys. So, but if you have any trouble, please contact secretary@tumakeover.org. So you come in. We have our important dates here for you. We have links up here to the rule book to manage my entries. The trainer bulletin board, we put copies of emails that have been sent out. Competition tests and patterns is going to have all your dressage tests and ranch riding patterns for the year. Special awards, you nominate for special awards on your final entry form, but if you want to see what we have and what your horse might be eligible for, you can check it out there. Reporting the sale of a makeover horse, you can do that at any time, even if it's for prior year competitors. You see I have my historical records of my past makeover entries here. If we keep going down, we have the USCF drug policy. We follow the USCF rules for allowable substances and restricted substances and banned substances, so make sure that you're familiar with that. We have some resources on body condition scoring, marketing your makeover horse, state vet requirements for interstate health certificates, the procedure for the arrival exam, the procedure for the schooling policies, the provisional schedule, like it's all here. Like we have tried so hard to anticipate everything that you guys could need. So when in doubt, check that rule book, check the website, like chances are we've thought of it. And then we also have links to all of our Facebook pages here and all of our mini groups. And then when we finish a webinar and get it uploaded to YouTube, we add it here at the bottom. But I'm going to go ahead and enter a horse. So you just come in here and you hit enter thoroughbred. And your information is pre-populated here, so you just want to make sure that that's correct. And if you are somebody that is captaining a team and has individual entries, you want to make sure that you select the relevant thing. I'm going to enter for a test team, and I'm just going to register my horse. Okay. You enter if you are the owner of the horse or not. If not, it'll ask you some of the owner information. So I'm going to say that I do. And this is a 2015. Well, we have the most popular combination here. Okay. Here's your opportunity to add the microchip ID. You'll see that it's not required. You don't have to have it at this moment. You can come back and add it at any time. This button here, it says, do you anticipate this horse is going to be offered for sale at the makeover? If you think that you might be marketing this horse, go ahead and check yes. You can always change it later. All this does is put a little icon next to your horse's name that indicates that they're going to be for sale. Again, you can turn it off later, but it's just one more little indicator that might get your horse noticed. So I'm just going to say yes. So this question here is worded just a little bit strangely, but what we're checking for is if your horse is going to be qualifying off of a race or a published work. So is this horse unraced, or was its last race before July 1, 2018? Horses that answer yes to this are going to need to qualify off of a published work rather than a race. So all we ask you to do is put in the date of the last published work, or if they have a race within that window, we're going to ask for the race. Pretty straightforward. Raced on the birthday last year. To your knowledge, did this horse have more than 15 training rides between retirement and December 1, 2019? The answer to this has to be no, or else they're not eligible. And like I just have to add that that is until December 1 of 2019. Whatever happens after that, they're eligible. They can show, they can have more than 15 rides as long as it's after December 1, 2019. So that means that you could go out and buy a horse that has been lightly restarted at this point and still be within the required eligibility. Here we just ask, you know, what has this horse done between when it retired and December 1 of 2019? So simple explanation here. Acquisition information. How is this horse acquired? We want to understand the channels through which these horses are coming into the makeover. So we have a couple of different categories here, and I'll give you like a little quick explanation. Auction or kill pen is pretty straightforward. Did you find your horse at Kaufman? Did you find your horse at New Holland? Direct from the track or racing connections. That means that you paid a connection of the horse to take that horse home. And that could be, you know, we want to know here who the last owner of the horse is, and was there an agent involved? So that agent can be somebody like Finger Lakes Finest, Amy Paulus at Changing Saddles, Cantor, you know, any of the Cantor affiliates that helped list that horse and helped you with that transaction. You know, so go ahead and give those people credit here. We have a pretty robust list of who we're aware of, and you can always add somebody else. If we go down here to nonprofit aftercare facilities, so that is going to mean that your horse retired from the track and was housed at a nonprofit aftercare facility for some amount of time before you purchased him, or rather adopted him from that entity. So that's going to be entities like Mid-Atlantic Horse Rescue, New Locations, equine athletes, like, you know, anything like that, you know, where they have a physical facility and you're paying, you know, you're going through an adoption process, Maker's Mark secretaries, anything like that. So again, we want to give credit where credit is due. So we have, you know, a fairly comprehensive list of non-profit aftercare organizations for you to choose from, and you can always pick other. And then the last category that we put these horses in is reseller. So that's going to be if you paid somebody that was an intermediary between the horse's retirement and you. So the people that are going to fall into this category are people like Jessica Redman, you know, Clarence Tom Mansman of Pacific Farms, people who have a business of, you know, this is an ugly word, but I don't use a derogatory horse flipping. You know, they acquire a horse, they put some time into it, and then they resell it. Resellers, but they're not nonprofit organizations, they're just in the business. So again, you know, we want to understand where these horses are coming from. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to help you. The price or adoption fee paid. What did it cost you to get that horse into your barn? Is it an adoption fee, or is it a regular fee that you paid to the track connections or the reseller? We want to understand what it costs you to acquire that horse, and also the date that you acquired it. If you can give us any additional detail about how you acquired that horse, where you saw it advertised, how you made the connection with the track owner, you know, did you use, were you browsing Kenner's website? Anything like that is also helpful. And then anything else that you happen to know about the horse that you think is interesting. You know, we do a lot of research on their racing history, but you have like a fun story about how involved the track trainers are still, or, you know, they're still owned by their racing connections and they're supporting you coming to the makeover, and they're like, you know, everybody is all in on the experience. Like, we want to celebrate stuff like that, so please share it with us. I've skipped something, so it's actually racing connections. I'm still missing fields. Yep, fees. Okay, so now I've got Horsing a Horse Face the third entered in the makeover, and I can go ahead and do other management things here. We can upload photos. I really encourage you guys to do so. That goes on your horses listing on the website. You can view the photos that you uploaded previously. You can withdraw the horse or report a sale. You can handle that all from here. When it comes time to do a final entry form, we'll go ahead and put up a button that says complete the final entry form for this horse. So we worked hard to try to make this as easy as possible, but again, if you need any assistance or have any feedback, we're always open to that sort of thing. So what happens from here is your horse is sitting in pending status, and it might sit there for a little while because what happens is we have volunteers and part-time staff members who are looking at these registrations, trying to make sure that the data is really clean, and pulling the racing information off of Equibase for these horses. So there's a process where they go through and complete that information and go ahead and set it to improvement. We don't contact you unless there's a problem. So you just want to periodically check back. If you haven't heard from us, don't panic. We will be in touch if there is a problem with your horse's registration, but otherwise there's no cause for concern. Let's see. And I'll just go ahead and show you briefly. I think somebody wanted to know where they find information on their horse. So the kind of like default entity that we utilize here is going to be Equibase. Everybody here knows my affinity for Songbird. So you can go ahead and search for them up here. So this is the Songbird. So then they have this profile here like this. So you've got their color, their gender, when they foaled, their pedigree, their career statistics, so starts, wins, place shows, complete earnings. If they were an accomplished racehorse, they won stakes or graded stakes or placed in one or the other, that would be notated here as well. And then you have the connections as of the last start. And if they were consigned at an auction, that's going to show up here as well. You can go ahead, if they have achievements, that's going to be detailed here. So, you know, we've got swords and all that, Brewer's Cup and all that really great stuff. And then results is going to be a complete listing of their career results. And then if you go to auction history, Songbird, obviously, things they sold for quite a bit of money when she was retired as a broodmare. So their complete sale history would be here as well. If you are into pedigree stuff, you can click through. I don't know if that's still showing or not, but because I'm in a different tab. Oh my goodness, I'm not a robot. Okay. So you can see the 5-generation pedigree here as well. If you need help looking up a published work for a horse, please get in touch with us or search the group. That's a subject that's been covered a lot as well. So that is all I have for this evening. I was fairly efficient considering how slow the start it got off to. So please, if you have any questions, let me know now. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to email Raina, who is at secretary@tvmakeover.org. I'm just gonna the email again for just general inquiries and makeover related stuff is secretary@tvmakeover.org. Elise, no, you do not have to supply the whole history. We do that research on our end. So that's why we really appreciate you doing your horse registrations as soon as possible and not all on July 31st so that you don't get crushed with the entry. Any other questions? You can send them either through the Q&A or through the chat section. Okay. All right, folks. Like I said, we do always download these webinar recordings, so I'll have this posted over to the Facebook page and up on our YouTube channel either this evening or tomorrow. And again, thank you very much. Looking forward to working with you this year. We're here to support you. Let's make it a fantastic 2020. Thank you very much and have a great